everybody, I am Tiffany and welcome to my channel Tiff Anime Reviews. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back for another video, and thank you so much for supporting this newer channel. For those of you who are newcomers, welcome to my channel. It is all about anime, manga, everything anime-ish. Before I get into this review, I did want to go over for you newcomers how this channel works. So I personally have compiled a giant list of anime that I hopefully will watch in my lifetime. I found a website that generates a giant anime list and you can set certain preferences to it, which was really cool. And I decided to use this website to help create my own personal list for myself and my use. The only criteria I really set it to on that website was to only show anime ranked 7 and above, which gave me over like 800 anime, guys. So it's a pretty big list. And I felt like 7 was a good mix. It will have, of course, the top tier anime because it's 7 and above. It may have some mid ones that are really fun, but they're not necessarily top tier. May have some trash ones in there that are really fun trash to watch. Since I have my own list, they're all numbered on there. Basically, I hit a random number generator and whichever number it lands on, that's the next anime I have to watch. I started this channel with Akiba Maid War. This is the next one that it landed on, so I'm now doing a review on it. And this anime is Dakaichi, I'm Being Harassed by the Sexiest Man of the Year. I know, such a great title. So I will say, this is the first boys love anime that I have ever seen. I believe it's called Yaoi, right? That's the genre. I've never seen a Yaoi anime before, so I was very excited to hop into this. That's part of what my list is for, is to help me discover and get into other genres that I really haven't touched on yet, because I tend to just really like the darker, grittier animes, and I wanted to be able to see all types. Of course, darker and grittier, but also on the other end, love stories, comedies, slice of life, everything. So I was really excited that this landed on an anime in a genre that I really hadn't seen yet. Now, after watching it, was totally not what I expected. It was not what I envisioned in my head from the description of the anime, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just got very thrown right out of the gate of what in the world was happening. I thought it was gonna be a bit more of an innocent anime, and it was not. And like I said, this is my first time watching an anime in the yaoi genre, so I don't know if other yaoi animes are like this, or if there's a bunch of different ones, like in other love stories, because I know there's some love stories in anime that can be pretty shocking to watch. And Dakaichi was just one of those where I was like, all right, was not expecting that. So after watching it overall, do I think this anime is for everybody? No. I think it has really great moments in it, but for example, if I'm trying to introduce someone to anime, this isn't one I would necessarily start with. I'd start with a more generic one. But I still really liked the anime overall. It definitely wasn't my favorite. I've seen ones that I connected to a lot better in it in regards to the characters and how they interact with each other. But it had its really good moments, and I think as it continued to find its pacing, it got better as it went along. The beginning felt a little bit more rough to me, and then once the story started to progress and it got its groove, that's when it really hit its stride, and I ended up enjoying it by the end of it. Just I was a little bit not sure if I was going to really like it at the beginning of the anime. It is not an anime for young ones. Do not show this to your kids. It's adult. And it is more on the comedy side. It does have some drama parts mixed in. Again, it's a romance, so you're going to deal with romantic issues, but overall it leans more towards comedy and is meant to be more comedic than it is dramatic. I don't know for the rest of the series how it continues to go, because I know it's a manga, I believe, and it hasn't all been adapted. For those of you who don't know what Dakaichi is about and maybe want to learn a little bit more about it, it follows the character Takuro Saiju, who has been voted the most huggable man in Japan for the past 5 years. He's looking forward to get that 6th year under his belt, but he ends up being unseated by Junta Azumaya. And guess what? He happens to be working with Junta on his next film project. So a rivalry is born between who is the most huggable man. Of course, the story is going to take a very different turn. So this is where, based off of just that plain description that I gave you, this is where my brain got a little bit confused when I started watching it, because I thought the whole anime was going to be a rivalry really between the two. But it wasn't that. And Takuto ends up finding himself in a relationship with the man who took his #1 spot. If you want to explore yaoi, I know this is a very popular one as far as I know. Again, this is my first entry into to seeing any yaoi anime, so I don't know if there's necessarily other ones that other people would recommend. So if you think there are better ones that have a better introduction to yaoi, then for sure leave them in the comments below. But like I said, I did have fun with this anime. It is a little bit jarring at the beginning, but overall it is really fun, and it's nice to see how the relationship develops over the course of time. I'm excited to continue to explore different yaoi animes that I end up landing on my list, because I have others on there as well. Personally, I gave this anime a 6.8 overall. This is one that you need to check out and just see if you like it or not for yourself. I think there are some people who are going to like it and some people who aren't really going to like it. It is not that long of an anime. It's 13 episodes, so you can definitely watch it in a weekend if you really want to. So go check it out and then let me know what you think of it as well, if you've already seen it, or once you have watched it, come back here and then we can discuss all the spoilery details together. So goodbye, non-spoilery people. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you maybe later on when you've watched this and want to see my other thoughts on the actual details of it, or on whatever other video I do. Thanks for joining. Goodbye! Spoilery peeps, let's go ahead and get into it for Dakaichi. As I mentioned in the non-spoilery section, this anime definitely threw me off in the beginning. I knew it was a boy's love story, and I was excited to watch a good love story. I just did not expect how aggressive it would be right off of the bat. Like, Junta's a lot. He came on very strong. I thought that it was literally going to be they kind of hate each other, they're competing against each other, they're kind of flirting with each other, and then they slowly grow to like each other, and by the end they're a couple. That's what I thought was going to happen because of the fact that it's a rivalry between the two over who is the most huggable man. But no, I was completely wrong. In the first episode, Junta goes out with Takuto, gets him drunk, records him, and kind of uses it as blackmail to make him be in a relationship with him. So yeah, it was a pretty aggressive start, and I honestly did not know how I was going to feel about the rest of this anime. But I am a completionist, so I was like, let me stick through this. And on top of that, I know this is kind of weird, but I haven't really watched a lot of animes that depict like sex and doing those type of acts. It's not for any particular reason, just a lot of the animes that I've watched that are darker tend to be more action-oriented and shonen. My brain was thinking it was going to be, again, a more innocent romance, and it ended up showing all of that. I didn't mind seeing that, but just because of how aggressive Junta was at the beginning, that's what made me feel a little bit uncomfortable watching it. And the other part that made it uncomfortable is Takuto, you can't really tell if he wants this or not. Like, it's just kind of being forced on him. So I just didn't know really how to feel because it felt like the relationship was forced to happen. Later on, of course, once the relationship develops and everything, of course it's mutual. And you see them both kind of being flirty and having moments where they really care about each other. But just at the beginning, it was very like, I don't know if he wants this or not. I felt really bad for Takuto. Like, I didn't correlate that him being harassed, like in the title, was that type of harassment. I know I'm naive, I'm sorry. But Takuto as a character just goes through a whole ordeal throughout this. I felt really, really bad for him. You do understand that Junta really does like him and is wanting to protect him and loves him an insane amount, but everybody just kind of keeps forcing him to hang out with him and do stuff with him, and Takuto's trying to figure himself out. Like, he's like, hold on a second, give me a breather so I can figure out what I want. And I felt bad because it wasn't just Junta that was messing with him. He had other characters who were messing with him as well. You have the character Chihiro, who decides to get Takuto drunk and make it seem like him and Takuto had sex in order to get Junta mad. Of course they didn't, but Chihiro leaves a mark and it ends up being this big deal, and you see Takuto deal with all this guilt because he actually does want to be with Junta, but Chihiro is trying to ruin that, and he thinks that he maybe slept with someone when he was drunk. It's very sad. Like, that's real poor Takuto that he's going through all of this. He has this one dude on one hand, Junta, who won't leave him alone, who is actually starting to care for. And then you have this other dude who's like, you know what, I'm gonna kind of violate you a little bit, leave a mark on you, and make you think that we slept together when we didn't. Like, that's... what in the world? Even Kazuomi, at the end, tackles Takuto to the ground and caresses him. This dude had a full-on harem of dudes trying to force him to do stuff. Just left and right, one dude after another, just coming after him, and I was like, what's going on? But But despite some of the awkwardness of some of the scenes because of how aggressive it came across, there were a lot of moments that I really did like in this anime too, more on the relationship development side. Like one aspect I feel like they caught very well, the early stages of a relationship when you have some apprehension. You have Takuto who does like Junta, but he kind of forces himself to be distant from Junta because he is scared of if whether Junta's feelings are real and they're gonna stay, or if this is just a temporary obsession. It depicted really well insecurities that I think we all have early on in a relationship and trying to figure someone out, seeing if they're more serious or if they're more not, and not wanting to let yourself fall too deeply too fast because you don't want to end up getting hurt and thinking it was something more than it wasn't. And in that aspect, seeing Takuto's hesitation was very relatable. I felt like it was really, really well depicted in the anime because I don't feel like I see that too much. A lot of the times, a lot of the romance animes are very much when you have crushes on people and you're trying to get up the courage to say that you like someone. This was a definitely more mature anime in the sense of how it is when you're dating when you're older and just trying to figure it out and see if you are open to opening yourself up or if you're going to continue to close yourself off and make yourself distant because you don't know exactly how the other person feels about you. But on the other end of the spectrum, you see Takuto struggle when Junta has moments where he ignores him, like Junta's sick or he's trying to maybe give him a little bit space because he feels like he's being too much. And you see Takuto go through and be like, why is he not following me around anymore? Why is he not picking me up anymore? And he starts to panic. And again, I feel like that does depict how it can be in a relationship. If someone's being a little bit more distant towards you than what you're used to, even if you kind of try and play it off, you're like, why are they doing that? Why are they not paying full-on attention to me per usual? It was sweet to see Takuto struggle with trying to keep a little bit of a distance, but then when Junta would give him some distance, being like, no, wait, no, I want the attention. I want to say my favorite episode in the anime was definitely when they went to Hawaii because I felt like that one definitely showed cute moments of the relationship a lot. You have Junta trying to get Takuto alone and just running all over the island trying to find a place for them to be alone and have like a date. They just keep running into people and you just see Junta get more and more frustrated as he keeps trying to just have a moment alone with Takuto and he's not able to get it. It was either that or the Christmas episode where their relationship is definitely defined now and you see Takuto struggling to find a really good Christmas present for Junta because he wants to impress Junta even though he doesn't usually celebrate Christmas. It was a really funny episode and it was really sweet to see just that frustration of trying to find something perfect for him because he wants to impress him so much. The supporting characters were also really great in this anime. I loved the manager, Sasaki. Every single time Takuto was being dragged away by Junta, you know, the manager's waving, he's just like, Sasaki, help me! That made me chuckle every single time because the manager just straight up ignores him and is just like, bye, have fun. Ryo Narumiya was also really funny. I think the scene that was the funniest with him was when Junta was asking for his school uniform. Ryo has no idea what it's for, but he goes along with it and he's asking, do you want short pants, long pants? Which one do you want? And I'm just like, Ryo, you have no idea what this is actually for. The only supporting character that was hard for me to like was Chihiro, the guy who tried to pretend to sleep with Takuto. I don't like that dude. I think it was just super funny that every time he tried to flirt with Takuto, the plushies would come up, or the squishies. One aspect I really liked that they added in this anime too was how the entertainment industry can affect relationships. I'm not sure really too much how it is in Japan versus America, but I do think one thing that's at least in common is there's very much a large amount of pressure to present yourself in a certain light, to have a certain image. So being in a relationship maybe with someone that isn't typical can sometimes hurt your reputation. They show that a lot in this main relationship between Junta and Takuto. These are two guys who are very attractive and they are loved by women. Like, they're voted the most huggable people in Japan. And they have a certain image that they have to maintain, and because of that, their relationship can't really be out there. And it's stated that if their relationship gets out, it could affect their career. So you have scenes in the anime where you see them trying to prevent the relationship from being uncovered because of how it may affect their careers. You also have Yuri and Nakata, who get together in order to get themselves out there in the media. It just really shows how calculated everything is, making certain moves even just in your own personal lives to be able to be in the public eye and viewed a certain way. Even with Takuto, a big part of his character is when he meets people, he is analyzing them and is trying to figure out how to interact with them. So that way he comes off the correct way towards them. So I just found that very interesting, and I really liked having that aspect in there and seeing how calculated every move is in regards to it, and how you present yourself is such a big laser focus when you're in the entertainment industry. So as you can see, this anime does have a lot of great stuff to offer, even though again the beginning really threw me off. There's just a lot of cute moments within it. I love when Takuto accidentally calls Junta Chunta, so that's like the thing. The rest of the anime is his nickname is Chunta. It just has some moments like that that are very sweet and that help develop the relationship. I really loved the flip Junta did in order to take down the tabloid magazine. That way him and Takuto's careers don't get ruined. It definitely by the end had me connected to these characters and rooting for their relationship. I know there is a movie out that I think develops it more, but I'm excited hopefully that it gets another season and that maybe we can see them be like a couple, because this whole first part of the anime was definitely about the relationship developing, and I want to see more of them being together as an actual couple. And that is really all I have to say about this anime for now. I'm really curious to explore other animes in the yaoi genre to see again if they're kind of similar to Dakaichi or if they're very different from each other. I'm just excited to explore more stories in general, and I am glad that I watched this even though it wasn't my absolute 100% favorite. If you stayed all the way through the spoilery section and still haven't watched it, well, you've been spoiled, I guess, in more detail. But I suggest you go and watch the anime and then come back and let me know what you think of it. But overall, just thank you for sticking all the way through the video. I am gonna let you know my next anime that my list landed on was Akame ga Kill. So I should be doing that review soon. Stay tuned. Thank you again so much for joining me. Make sure to check out my other channel, Tiffany Books, Movies, and Stuff. That's reviews for movies, books, TV shows, along those lines. And then this channel is specifically for anime. But overall, thank you so much for joining me. Super excited to continue this anime journey with my list. Stay tuned for Akame ga Kill eventually, since that's my next one that it landed on. And go watch Dakaichi if you haven't yet. Have a great day, and don't forget to be awesome. Goodbye!